and welcome to Sunrise of Mission Viejo. My name is Roxanne, and I'm the executive director here at our community. I'm currently out on maternity leave. That's why we're meeting via video then instead of in person. But I wanted for all of our new team members to get to know me a little bit, so that when I return, you kind of can put a name to the face. So a little bit about myself. I've been with Sunrise for about 10 years now. And I started at Sunrise as a concierge and a care manager. I've grown up with Sunrise. Even before I started working for Sunrise, I was a volunteer with Sunrise. So I did that from the time I was about 12 years old till I was 18, and that's when I started working for Sunrise and in a frontline role. And then I was finished up undergrad, became an associate executive director, and have been in an executive director role now for a little over 5 years. So I share that with you because I think it's really important for all of you as new team members to know that there's a lot of growth opportunity within Sunrise should you want that. So if you're wanting to grow into a coordinator role or an executive director role, or maybe even try different types of departments or different things, like you want to go to nursing school and become a nurse or whatever that might be, Sunrise has a lot of programs and systems in place to support you in your growth and your development within the company. So if that's something you want, talk with your coordinator, talk with Janelle, and we can get you, on the right track and discuss sort of where you're at and where you need to be and where you want to be for how we can continue to grow you and develop you in Sunrise, because there's a lot of great opportunities in all different realms. So I think that that's something that everybody should consider if that's something you want. So like I said, just communicate with your department head or with Janelle, and they can help get a good plan in place. There's a few things that we're going to talk about today. So one of those things is going over fundamentals that you've learned through your Learning Channel training. Fundamentals is something that we typically would teach in person. It's a class that I would have with you all day, and we would talk about all sorts of topics and things, but with COVID, it's moved to online. So we'll discuss that a little bit. And then additionally, we're going to talk about incident reporting and what sorts of things you need to report and how to report them to ensure that we are compliant with the Department of Social Services, as well as communicating efficiently and effectively with families and residents and doing the right things. So first thing is fundamentals. So you guys learned, if you've taken the fundamentals course on Learning Channel yet, you've learned about the story of Paul and Terry Clausen. So they are our founders, and they really had a belief that we had yet to find the best assisted living. And it's still a Sunriseism. The best assisted living has yet to be invented. We still strive to be better and better every day. But when they got into the assisted living business, in the 80s, there really wasn't anything like what we see now, and we see it everywhere. We see lots of different assisted living options now. But before, people's only choices were really nursing home settings or having to stay home and having a loved one live at home to provide care. And they just felt like there should be a better way. There should be more options for people. So they came up with the idea of Sunrise. They started Sunrise in their own home and slowly grew from there. So they acquired another home that they lived in and took care of the residents. And then by their third community, they built a true Sunrise mansion style community, similar to what we have now. So what they learned was our residents have a lot to offer that sometimes, because of the physicality or cognition of somebody who is elderly, we discount or we overlook, because visually that resident doesn't seem or appear to be able to make their own choices or be able to live the most dignified life possible. And they felt like we have to do better by our seniors. And that's really what Sunrise stands for. And that's why I come to work every day, and that's why I stay with Sunrise, and I've been with Sunrise for my whole career, is because Sunrise really believes in encouraging our residents' independence, in preserving their dignity, in ensuring that they can make their own choices. We really value our residents' end of life experience. For many of you, you may be the last person a resident sees before they pass away. for all of you, you guys will be the experience they have at some of the most vulnerable points of their life, which is really the end of their life, for however long that is, however long they're with us. Most of our residents age in place and pass away in our care. And so, you know, some of the things that residents might come to you with and be frustrated about or want might seem silly. You know, they might want their coffee a certain way and they get really frustrated if it's not done a certain way. Or they might like their toothbrush put in a certain part of the sink. And you might think, does this really matter? You know, why are they getting upset about this? And we have to take a step back and look through the lens of our residents. And we have to understand that for many of our residents, they have lost a lot of control in their life. Most of them have lost spouses. Most of them have lost their children being around every day, all the time. Many have lost friends, their careers, their lifestyle that defined who they were, right? You know, think about your own lives and think about how you define yourself and how you find value and self-worth. And for many of our residents, that has been taken away to a certain degree just by the natural progression of life and aging. So we have to step back and realize, okay, if they can control one little thing, let's let them do that. Let's give them the choice to be able to decide what they want to wear that day. Is it faster and easier if we do it for a resident, if we just put a shirt on a resident? Sure, it's faster and it's easier, but that's not promoting that resident's independence, and it's not a very dignified thing to do if they're able to help participate in that. All things you can learn through their care plan, right? So what's really important for me is that every one of our team members takes a step back and tries to place themselves in the shoes of our residents and understands that sometimes our residents want to be involved but don't know how to be involved. They can be a little bit lost as far as what their purpose is in life anymore and the role they play in society and our community, and how we can help support them living the most full life that they possibly can through the remainder of their life. For many of us, we are maybe a partner to somebody, a parent to somebody. You have this job that needs you so much and a career that needs you. Maybe you have school that needs your focus and attention. Maybe you have parents that need your focus and attention. You know, you've got tons of commitments with friends or whatever it might be. You have a lot of obligations outside in the world, right? You're just busy. And that's how most of us live our lives. We feel like we don't have enough time in the day. We wish we were needed less. We wish that we had more time of just nobody needing us, right? Well, all of our residents have lived very full lives too. They lived lives where they were very much needed and that they, were important, and that people came to them for advice and people came to them for answers. And now they're in a position where a lot of that's gone. And so we have to understand, okay, all this purpose, all the things that drive us every day to get up every morning and get the day going and to get a lot done doesn't always exist for our residents unless we can create those opportunities. So getting to know your residents, truly know them deeply and understanding what motivates them and what brings them joy and happiness, and finding opportunities to ensure that we're doing that. So for many of you, you're gonna grow very close relationships with our residents, and you're gonna know a lot of things that I don't know or other people in leadership don't know. And it's important that you communicate that with your coordinator or the activity coordinator or care coordinator and say, hey, this particular resident would really love fresh squeezed lemonade. It was something that she had in the summer every day, and she wants a pitcher of fresh squeezed lemonade. How can we make this happen for her? And maybe the dining service coordinator can prepare all of the things that they need, and that resident can do that and have that fresh squeezed lemonade all the time, right? There's so many little examples that it seems small, but these things are so big to our residents, and they mean so much and they matter so much. All the way up to saying, a resident saying, hey, I want to go lay out on the beach today or whatever it might be, and trying to find opportunities and find ways to provide that to our residents when they're verbalizing what their needs and wishes are. Even when they seem like they're small things to us, this can mean everything to them. So that's ultimately what Sunrise is all about. We believe in that fiercely. We believe that, you know, residents have choice and independence, and we need to encourage that and preserve that at all costs. So we really need to focus on that. So that's really what keeps me at Sunrise, and why I love Sunrise so much, is that we truly, truly, truly believe in championing the quality of life for all of our seniors. And that means doing things that are helping fulfill their spirit and their soul, right? We do a lot of physical care. We help residents, you know, physically stay safe and healthy, but what are we doing for their mind? What are we doing for their soul and spirit, right? So finding opportunities to do that. That's what the second paycheck is. So the second paycheck is a Sunriseism that I use quite often. And it's really about why we come to work every day, right? So your first paycheck is the one you get every other week. That's the one that pays your bills, and that's the one that, you know, you can use for your life, right? Well, the second paycheck is why you come to this job, to this work every day. What gets you up to come into work? That's the second paycheck, right? You can make a paycheck anywhere. That's not what drives you to be here. So that second paycheck is all about the relationships we build with the residents and that closeness that we feel with many of the residents. So that's the second paycheck. At least that is for me, and that's what fills my bucket, and that's why I come here every day and I don't work another job. So that's the second paycheck at Sunrise. Now, transitioning to reporting. There's going to be several reasons why we have to do incident reporting. Right now we have everything on paper, and by the time you watch this video, it may have all transitioned to electronic, but the fundamentals of when we do incident reporting will remain the same. So there are two types of incident reporting right now. It is a resident incident report / general liability. So that incident report is for if our residents have a skin tear or a fall or bruising or anything out of the norm, right? So that's an incident report that we use for residents. We also use this incident report for guests. So in the event that we have somebody who's here who is injured here on site, we would utilize that same incident report. Let's say there was an accident in the parking lot, or somebody tripped in our foyer and had to go out via the ambulance. We'd fill out that incident report. The second type of incident report is a team member incident report. And that's what we get, I think they're in the break room, otherwise the business office coordinator office has them, as well as your coordinators will have them. If you are injured here at Sunrise for any reason, even if you think that it'll be fine and it'll go away and the next day you'll feel okay, you have to fill out an incident report. Just because you fill out an incident report doesn't mean you have to go see a doctor and go do all these things, but what it does do is it helps us have an accurate record in real time, so that if you have issues, let's say a couple days later, we can then pull that report and we can accurately know what happened in real time, because the details of events become lost to us down after a couple days or a couple weeks, right? So you might have a fall, let's say you trip down the stair, and you feel fine, you get up, you walk it off. You need to still fill out an incident report, because if you then a couple days later, your leg starts to bother you and it's all bruised up and now you feel like maybe I want to see a doctor. Well, we need to make sure we have accurate documentation of the incident when it occurred. And any type of incident report, whether it's for a resident or for a team member, has to be completed before you leave for your shift. Or immediately if it warrants an immediate incident report. If you injure yourself and you're needing to go to the hospital, or you need medical attention, we need to make sure that you get off the floor, you get yourself filled out an incident report. There's a nursing hotline that you'll call, and that is what they'll help dictate what the plan of care looks like, and if you need to go to the hospital or if you just need to follow up with a physician or whatever that looks like. So those are two types of incident reports. Additionally, you are a mandated reporter in the state of California. So what that means is this: if you suspect or hear or think that a resident is being abused, neglected, or exploited financially, you are obligated to report that. You would report that to your coordinator, but it's really important that you report it to the executive director. And that would be me, but in my absence, you'll be reporting that to Janelle. And it's also your duty to ensure that it gets followed up on. So if you report it to Janelle and you ask her, a couple days later, hey, did that get reported? I just want to make sure that got escalated to where it was supposed to get escalated to. that is well within your realm and your duty to make that judgment call. And then Janelle would then communicate with you what the next steps were that she had completed and who was notified of those things. So again, it can be big or small, and you don't have to be able to prove it to report it. So if you sort of hear these things going on, but you're not quite sure if it's true or not, report it, and then it will be Janelle's responsibility, or mine when I return, to do a full investigation to determine if it was a legitimate claim or not a legitimate claim, and we then report everything off, and it is the Department of Social Services or the Department of Aging who will then come in and determine, what if something is legitimate or not, if it truly is an issue. Regardless, we have to report it. So those are kind of the general overview of the things that I need to communicate with you about today. I'm really sad that I can't meet with you in person, but I really look forward to meeting you when I return and getting to know all of our new team members that we've hired while I've been gone. And if you need anything in the meantime, like I said, Janelle is your best point of contact. And I plan on stopping by with my new baby pretty soon here as well. So hopefully I'll see you around the community. Thank you so much for serving Sunrise. Thank you so much for serving our residents. We're so excited that you're here. This can be a very fulfilling long-term career path, should that be what you want. And so we're really, really excited to have you. Thank you so much.